everybody, what's up? We are back, the Enough Said podcast. We are here in season 2, and believe it or not, it is episode 2. So we're rolling along here. We thought we'd do something different today, so we got a special surprise for you. You know, normally we kind of stick to one sport, football, but we're trying to expand a little bit, do a couple different things. So we have a special surprise for you today. As always, feel free to email us enoughsaidcrew@gmail.com. And if you have anything to say to any of our cast. Speaking of cast, how's that for a segue, guys? Let's bring everybody in. So first, he's still sitting on the James Harden train and is all in, and he's still hoping that he and Embiid can bring them that big win. Dre, what's going on, buddy?
Yo, what's going on? What's up, everybody?
All right. This next guy, his 49ers are holding on to Jimmy G tight, and he likes to play the game from The Price is Right. Say hi to Mike, everybody.
Hey, what's up, everybody? How you doing?
What's up, Mike?
All right. And as always, one of our steady guys here, when Ron is on, he gets wound up tight and he goes to bed early like an old man on a Saturday night. Say hi to Jermaine, everybody.
What's going on, everybody? How you doing? What's going on, everybody?
And our special guest this week is Claudius, and he hates Team Red Bull and hopes they are done, but just don't mess with them when it comes to Formula One. So what's up, Claudius? What's happening, buddy?
How's it going, guys?
What's up, Claudius? Welcome to the Enough Said crew.
Yeah. So welcome aboard. So today, like I said, we are going to talk about Formula One racing. And, you know, I have to admit, guys, when I first heard Formula One, I thought it was freaking baby food. I didn't know what the heck it was. I was like, what is Formula One? You know? So I found out it was racing, and, you know, I'm hoping you guys can fill us a lot in, because I'll be honest, I don't know much about it. So, you know, you guys have been in it pretty much. So let's hit it right. Let's get on it right away.
Me
you know,
and you
so
sound the same. Me and you are the
Yeah.
same, because when I heard of Formula One back in the day before Dre introduced me, I thought it was a drink. I'm like, I thought we was going out drinking.
Yeah, shaking, not stirring.
Are we going to drink?
Yeah. So I didn't know what to make of it, but apparently it's getting popular and it's international. So I can't wait to hear about it and learn today. So let's start out. Claudius, fill us in a little bit. First of all, what is Formula One? There's teams, there's drivers. What's going on?
Well, Formula One is top tier open wheel racing, where you have 22 drivers trying to fight for the championship. Two drivers per team, and you have a few dominant. You always have a few dominant people, dominant teams that have been consistently. This decade, it's been Mercedes. In the past, it's been Ferrari or Red Bull. Right now, it might be Red Bull's turn. We'll see. They just changed a lot of the rules and went from 13-inch wheels to 18-inch wheels, and a lot of aero changes. So it's interesting this year because there's so many changes. It's kind of a who knows what's going to happen. You're not going to know until 2 weeks from now when the flag drops.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, like to piggyback off of them, like the changes with the aerodynamics, with the ground effects. You know, they're bringing that back after 40 years of not using ground effects, and then adding those 18-inch tires are going to add more weight to the car. So it's going to be interesting with those changes. You know. And like he said, man, to be equivalent, since you guys talk about football and money, you know, an average cost to run a team is $247 million. Okay, that's just the average cost. I mean, we're talking about, you know, big time $1 billion Jerry Jones or whatever, you know. So Formula One is a very expensive sport to run. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mike, fill us in a little bit. So how did you get into this too and get involved in all this? And what do you like most about it?
So I'll be honest, I'm not as diehard as Claudius and Dre into Formula One, but I've been paying attention to it mainly through Claudius. He kind of hit me up to, you know, Lewis Hamilton, who's one of the most dominant drivers in the history of the sport. So I've been watching, you know, a number of the races, starting to learn the sport, learn the strategies that are involved. There's definitely a lot more to it than this just driving fast. Everything when having a teammate and having them play positions so that one driver may be able to finish in a higher position than the other driver. So their teams are working together, but yet competing at the same time. So I've learned a lot about the sport. I find it fascinating also just the different locations that the sport goes to. I mean, they race in Dubai, they race in, well, not this year, but they race in Russia, Mexico, United States, all over Europe. So, I mean, they travel quite a bit. So it is a very interesting sport, very diverse, very, very different than a lot of other sports that we have here in this country.
All right. Jermaine, you're like me here. Like we need like a Formula One for Dummies book. So what do you want to know, man? What do you want to ask Claudius here that's kind of interesting to you?
I think what I was looking over when I was at work, when I had some time, when I had some downtime doing a big major thing that was at work, because I didn't know the difference between NASCAR and Formula One. Now I actually got the difference when I was reading up on it. As far as going everywhere, like you said, Mike, Dubai and everything and whatnot, and and just looking at that, and then I guess versus NASCAR, I guess you got those different kind of cars and everything versus what you have as far as BMW, Honda, or whatever. So I was just doing a little bit of trying to do some little bit of research and everything. So I mean, as far as formula is concerned, I mean, I guess it's a whole weekend thing, or it's a week long thing, or how does that actually work? I mean, I know the difference between NASCAR and Formula, but what's the real big difference? What's the real energy as far as NASCAR versus Formula?
Well, I'm not sure about NASCAR, but I know Formula One, the weekend starts Thursday. People start practicing. You have 3 practices. Then you have qualifying, and then the race. Last year they started with the new they changed the qualifying format to where they would have sprint races. They did 3 sprint races last year. They're going to do 3 sprint races this year. They were debating on whether or not having to do it. I thought it was going to be a full season of the sprint races for position for the actual race. But no, they kept it to 3, and then they bumped up the points though. So qualifying 1st through 10th had more meaning. I think what was it, 10 points for you get pole position, right? And then it flows down the line, which that'll be interesting because last year only the top 3, like you would get 3 points for pole position. P2 you get 2 points, and so P3 you get 1 point.
That's
Everybody
interesting.
else is you just want your vying for position to start.
Right. And if you want to make it equivalent to football, it's like having the playoffs every week because there's 20 teams and they're all trying to reach the top. There's just like a cutoff, right? In qualifying. So if you don't make, I forgot where that cutoff point is, you don't make it to the next round in qualifying. So
that's the regular qualifying format. Aside from the sprint race, you have a Q1, Q2, Q3 format where after the Q1, then the top 15 keep going with the best times, move on to Q2, and then after Q2, the top 10 move on to Q3, and then they're vying for the top 10 positions.
Yeah.
So you get points like every time you perform in a race and you get a certain finish, correct? Is that kind of how it works?
Yeah. And then the qualifying tires that you were the fastest on in Q2 are the tires you're going to race on. Okay. So it's a strategy of you're not going to use the top tier teams typically are going to use a medium compound. You have soft, medium, hard compounds. They're going to typically try to get away with their medium compound because that's the compromise between the softest compound you can get away with to last you as long as you can, especially if they're worn through there. And then you're going to use your softest compound in Q3.
Okay.
Let me ask you something. The time that we all met up and I met you guys in Baltimore and everything, what was that? Was that NASCAR or was that Formula One?
That was IndyCar.
That was
It was
Indy.
IndyCar Lights, and then IMSA Grand Prix.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay.
So IndyCar was
It's
actually more similar to NASCAR, almost
right.
like I don't want to say an open wheel version of NASCAR, but it kind of, I mean,
Mm.
they still go through oval tracks. They
Right.
have regular racing circuits, and that they don't race in the rain, do they?
I don't think they race in the rain in Indy.
Right.
Um, NASCAR, um, no, like
No, yeah,
They
yeah,
definitely don't in
they
NASCAR.
definitely
yeah,
don't.
yeah.
But Sal, to answer your question, when it's time
Hmm.
when it's racing, only the top 10 teams get points. So if you
Gotcha.
finish 11th, you get nothing.
You
You
done?
know,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
it's 20 teams fighting for 10 spots. I mean, that's pretty challenging.
Okay.
Yeah, and Claudius, I mean, you could kind of chime in a little bit on it, but qualifying is so critical because what I've seen from watching the races, especially with some of the stronger drivers, if they qualify in position one to start the race, they don't ever give up position one the entire race. Like I can watch Lewis Hamilton, and if he qualifies first, there's a good chance he's going to win the race.
It depends on the track and
Mhm.
what which track suits the driver. If you're qualifying first or second, then you have a chance, and then strategy plays or the first lap. What happens in the first lap, the first corner or first few corners is important. Strategy plays into it also because you can start off second or sometimes third or fourth and still win it.
Hmm.
A lot of those top teams they can start in the back because they decided to change engines in preparation for the rest of the season because in the engine rules they only have 3 or 4 engines to use throughout the season. I'm not sure where it is now because because the season's longer,
Mhm.
Okay.
but I've seen a lot of teams, stronger teams, start off in the back and then race to they'll get up to fourth, third place easily, pretty easily, but your winning's kind of tough when your rivals first or second.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah, and it kind of keys on to this next question because you talked about a lot of the changes that these drivers make. Like there's wheel changes, extra fuel tanks. I know we were talking a little bit about that last night. Can you talk a little bit about that? Like, what are these drivers doing? Like, I think you said if they're not cheating, they're not trying, right? So what's going on there?
Yeah, it's that's why you have so many technologies or innovations that got banned from Formula One. The extra gas tank with I forget what team that was, the mass damper with Team Renault,
Mm-hmm.
the DAS system, that steering system, and Mercedes.
Mhm.
I forgot about that because
Yep.
they allowed it for that one year. But yeah, they come up with different. That's part of it, that the innovation of it, and they're still trying to dance around innovation, but they don't want innovation that's so dominant that you just you win all the races.
Mhm.
Either
Mm-hmm.
teams come back and mimic that, and they'll come back with it, and be more competitive, or you'll see a rule change to where that whatever that dominant technology will get banned, just so you have more parity.
Mm.
Okay.
So when they went to turbos, when they switched from normally aspirated to turbos, Mercedes had the better design, and they were just dominating like crazy, and they just kept changing the rules to offer more parity. And it took some years, but eventually it caught up to where some of the rule changes were finally more favorable to Red Bull or other teams, to where they started catching up.
And
They started
then
messing around with changing tire pressure allowances because Mercedes liked a certain pressure and they wouldn't allow it to be higher than they reduced the. I can't remember if they reduced the increase. I think they increased the tire pressures, and that kind of hurt things like that. Some changes that supported high rate type cars as opposed to low rate. Red Bull is a high rate type car. Mercedes is a low rake type car, and that's where the floor is. The backside is a little higher than the front side. So they, certain rule changes they'll make for parity. Other than that, you'll have different strategies on what type of compounds uh, you'll plan to use, and when, how many laps you can get away with a certain compound, things like that. So you have to use two different tire compounds on a normal weekend, on a normal race
Mhm.
time. And so, a lot of teams will sometimes they'll have a two-stop strategy or a three-stop strategy, and it sometimes they'll have more than that, and it just works out that way depending on the conditions. And then if it starts raining, then that goes away. That tire composite compound requirement.
So your pit is just as important as your driver. Staying out there and maintaining the lead. If your pit crew, I mean, guys, it's amazing when they pit in. It takes like a second, right, to change four tires. I mean,
Yeah, Red Bull's been really good at that.
like a
1.4
second,
seconds.
compared to I think it's like average 12 to 13 seconds in NASCAR, right? But it's because they have more guys on the car in Formula One. But it's amazing. I mean, you cannot lose any time at all in the pits. If the gun gets stuck or anything, or the tire, that you think a nanosecond, oh, it's a nanosecond. No, you just lost a lap or something, or you just lost 3 positions, 4 positions.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So the pit is just as important as any strategy for your driver. But when you're saying competition, Claudius, like correct me if I'm wrong. I know that when Mercedes, their innovation technology and they have the best and stuff. Was it that Red Bull actually got a Mercedes engine? Uh,
I don't know about that
oh,
one.
okay. I couldn't.
They might. I wouldn't be surprised if they were able to snag one. I don't know how that would have happened, but that's possible.
Yeah, yeah.
So let me ask this, Mike. Who are the good teams? Who are the teams? Is this like scripted ahead of time? Like, how does this generally all work?
Well, there's a number of teams, and there's the higher tier teams. The Mercedes, the Red Bulls. I say Ferrari's up there. McLaren is another kind of name that people know, and then
Hmm.
there's what I say are more the teams that are private teams. Haas, Williams, AlphaTauri is private also, right,
Yeah,
Claudius,
they're
and
the
then
junior team, the Red Bull.
Or Red Bull,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, they
So there's a mix. And then the sport does have stars. And I had a couple questions for Claudius about one of the top stars, which is Lewis Hamilton. Uh,
Hmm.
Hamilton is like the Brady of the sport, and Claudius, I really wanted to get your opinion on this because I know you're a big Hamilton fan. Um, I know you didn't want to revisit the end of the season and everything that went wrong, but did you ever think there was a chance that he wasn't going to race this season because of what happened? I know the rumors were out there, like he was really upset about it, and that there was a chance he was
I,
going to walk away from the sport.
I wouldn't be surprised if he considered it, but I think the media was running away with, hey, I think he's going to retire, starting with Bernie Ecclestone, and it
Mm-hmm.
just started a whole rumor mill, and media just took it and ran with it. Hamilton didn't say anything that whole time, so I was kind of wait and see. Let's see how he does. I knew he was going to step away from it. I figured just trying to step in his shoes, get away from it for a while, try to not think about it, and then reset, and we'll see what happens. Knowing him, or at least seeing him, he seems like the type that would come back stronger. So I think you'll see a recharge, stronger Hamilton, more determined this year to get the title. Then after that, I wouldn't be surprised if he retires, but I don't. Who knows? He
Hmm.
might
Yeah,
still
yeah.
keep trying to
That's
race.
my next question is how much longer you think he'll race? Because he's what 37 now.
37.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's creeping into his thoughts, so he'll either, hey, I'm just going to keep doing this until I get tired of it,
Right.
or you never know. I mean, they brought George Russell in. George Russell was for a while the plan to replace Hamilton as
Mhm.
the next big thing. So it's a big year for George Russell. We'll see how he responds and see how he does this year, and maybe it could be a change of the guard. It depends on how this season goes, and we'll see after that.
Gotcha.
How old is? I mean, the way you guys are saying, talking about comparing it to Brady, Hamilton's. How old is he?
He's 37.
Oh, he's
37.
37.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
so
that's up there for
that's
racing.
Yeah.
oh really? That was my next question. What's the average of somebody racing? How long do they actually race before they actually hang it up?
No, the oldest guy was Kimi Räikkönen.
Kimi Räikkönen,
Oh,
He's
40.
actually no,
No.
Alonso's
Alonso.
is he 42? Oh my
Uh,
gosh,
I,
I should
I,
know this, but
I
both
know
of those guys are up
Alonso's up
there.
there.
Kimi Räikkönen had it.
Yeah,
He retired last year,
last year.
okay.
but Alonso's still racing.
Yeah.
So that's not normal. You don't
And,
usually see. I mean, yeah, you saw Michael Schumacher did it, but he wasn't the same. It wasn't like the dominant. Yeah, I'm winning everything, Schumacher.
Mhm.
yeah.
So does it take a lot of wear and tear in your body? Is that why they generally? I'm assuming it does. Like,
Oh yeah.
It is. You're usually losing what 15 pounds
15
per
pounds
race, and
per race.
it's a lot of water loss.
Wow.
And the
It's
increased
a lot of
G's,
G forces on your
G
neck.
forces on your neck, your body.
Yeah, it's
wow, that's
These
crazy.
guys train like Olympic triathlon
they're
kind of
world
people.
class athletes.
They're world class athletes. I mean, miles and miles of running, conditioning, constant. And they're light as well because you gotta, light is the weight is important in the vehicles. So,
Mhm.
but real quick though, Claudius, I want to bring this up, and I was trying to bring it up during the season about Bottas or any teammate driver. So Valtteri Bottas is 2021 was Lewis Hamilton's teammate, and to me, I can compare this to like a Batman and Robin kind of thing, where
Mm.
you have a sidekick, right? And there was a few races I felt that Bottas should have went over Hamilton, but then the team decided to not let Bottas, you know, go ahead and stuff. And I kind of felt like he was the sidekick. And now, and to him, he tries to say it cleanly, professionally that, yeah, I, this and that, I'm okay. But actually, I know it burns him inside that he needs to win as well. So my question is, how important? I mean, as a team thing, yes, you got two drivers just going for points and stuff. But to me, I just thought Bottas should have got more wins. But
Well, you got to look at where they are when they were doing that. So the most important thing is the constructors championship. Above all, you got to win the constructors championship. There's millions at stake. They're trying to win the maximum amount of money for the team, and that's your mission. The next thing would be the drivers championship, and they allowed him to race early on, but further down when they started doing that, you're trying to have the best position possible for the team. 1, 2, they don't care who wins, honestly. And then besides from that, if he was closer, they might have made some calls that favor Hamilton a little bit, but he was so out of the points when they were having him stay back that it was still, they pretty much had the constructors championship locked up, and they're trying to maximize points for Hamilton. It might be also the worst thing you can have are teammates crashing into each other. And you've seen that with Weber and Vettel, Red Bull, and Hamilton and Rosberg with Mercedes. That's the worst thing you can have happen, and that's when you got team principals screaming at you. And
because I remember one race. Like Bottas just let everybody go, and we were like, even when Wolf came on, like, what are you doing? It's like at the point towards the end of the season, I don't think he cared. So he was just like, for me as a fan,
seemed like Perez was racing a lot harder than Bottas was.
Right. So it seems to me like, well, I'm leaving anyway. I'm going to another team. I don't care. So go ahead, pass me.
That was some Matador defense going on with Bottas.
Yeah.
So what's the craziest race that you ever seen happen, or the craziest thing that ever happened? I know you said, 2021 was kind of an interesting season, right? Because there were some crazy things going on. So what happened? What was one of the races you're like, oh my God, this is out of control?
Well, for me at Monza, there's a sharp first turn in a right turn, and Hamilton and Max Verstappen were were battling for that to get that turn. And to me, that was the most like dramatic race because what happened is I believe Hamilton was on the outside. Correct me if I'm wrong, Claudius, and Max Verstappen was on the inside, try to make the turn, and then Max's car, when they hit the sausage or the curb on the left, it projected or projected his car up over Hamilton, and the tire actually, thank goodness for the thing, the tire was about to hit Hamilton's head, right? So
Yeah,
Jeez.
the car landed on
the
Hamilton's
car
head.
landed on top of Hamilton's head, okay? And
Wow.
then they got out, they crashed out, okay? And they're the two top drivers. And Max didn't even like go over to look to see if he was okay. He just got out and started walking. And I felt that was, to me, in 2021 season was the most dramatic one. It was like, really? Like, you could have killed each other. Or, I thought Max is a very aggressive driver. And sometimes he's still a little immature, in my opinion.
I
So
agree. Yeah, and I wish he said something, but it probably was best for him to walk away because he probably would have done something more stupid, and that would have
well,
been bad for him. So for him, that was probably the best choice for him.
yeah, I think it was me. I would have punched him, but
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Question real quick. Speaking of Max, so guys, Jermaine Sal, the two top drivers in Formula One are Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. Lewis is kind of like the Brady. Max is maybe like Mahomes. He's kind of young, kind of brash, not that mature. Um, my question, trusted to the guys that watch it, is: do you think Max is ever going to become like a true champion, or you think he's just going to always be this arrogant kind of brat that you just kind of love to hate, kind of almost more like a villain to a degree, or you think he's going to get it?
Well, the thing is, he's really young. He's 24 years old, so he started when he was 17, which I don't think any 17-year-old should be. I don't care how talented he is, he still has some decision making to figure out, sort out. So
Mm-hmm.
I think he has the talent. I kind of figured that eventually he would be the champion, a champion anyway. It just seems like he has that drive. Not like this. I wasn't expecting what happened in 2021 season, but uh, the other thing I was kind of hoping for or wanting to see was I wanted to see him get more consequences for some of the actions that he takes.
mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And he got away with some stuff, and I understand that a lot of other people have gotten away with some things too, but the punishment was inconsistent throughout the whole season. So I think if we start getting more consistent penalties and he starts having some more penalties with like diving into the corner. He's really aggressive at. He's just I'm just going to break after you break, and no matter what happens, we'll see what happens, even if he goes off the track.
Hmm.
But he regularly does that, so
Mm-hmm.
to me that's not racing. And I'm waiting for him to polish some of that stuff and try to not actually collide with people.
Mm.
So, Jermaine, are you in with what you're hearing so far? And we're going to talk about this in a second, like, how this is growing in popularity, not only in the United States, but overseas, right? So, what do you think, Jermaine? You like what you're hearing so far?
Yeah, I like it. Especially the time when I went to Baltimore and met the guys there at Baltimore. I think I'm a more of a live person than actually
Hmm.
watching it on TV because I think I'll really get like, okay, what's going on. But I think I like the energy that
Hmm.
what they bring and all that stuff. And I'm an energetic person, so I just like energy. I just like the movement and everything. And it really brought chills to me when I actually went to that race and stuff. But yeah, it's something. And what you said, Sal. It's this, what they're saying is it is a growing thing. Hey Claudius, I did have one question about the state of the Formula One. I mean, we always hear different the other different sports how what's the state of the NFL, NBA, NHLs, etc., and all that stuff. How do you feel about the state of Formula One? I mean, going forward, the next 5 years, 5 to 10 years. How do you feel about that?
Right now, they're in a good position. They're in a great state. It looks like they finally cracked that code of trying to get increased viewership in the U.S., and they've been trying to do that for decades. I think a combination of new leadership when they switched from Bernie Ecclestone controlling to that media giant taking over. They made a lot of changes in accepting social media, going through Twitter and YouTube, and not clamping down on things, and actually broadcasting or putting out uh, their own content through those channels and Facebook. That definitely increased viewership. And then you have Drive to Survive on top of that really got people into it and got a lot of people plugged into the sport. And you saw that when you had the highest race, fan population at Circuit of America.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
they just changed the rules this year on the cars. So it's a big question mark on what's going to happen, and you might have. It's a big question mark on who's going to do well this season, and it's always whoever came out with the best design and out running will tend to do well. And they're just continually generating this excitement, and I think they're in a really good position for the next few years.
Yeah, and that brought me back into Formula One. Exactly what he said, like the Drive to Survive and stuff. Like I was out of Formula One for a while. I got back into it once I saw that like 2 years ago, and I'm hooked again. So it definitely works.
Yeah, so we're going to wrap it up here, in this particular segment. But how do you get into it? From the beginning, right? Like these drivers, they just. I think we talked a little bit about go-karts, right? You mentioned that, and just kind of starting with that, right? And just kind of developing from there. But you have to have money too, so it's kind of there's a lot involved.
You have to have a lot of money to get through it. I mean, Hamilton was he scrapped to it. He started early. He had natural talent. His dad had 3 jobs to keep his kart racing going until he was able to eventually get the eye of Ron Dennis and get some backing from McLaren. So that's kind of his end as he went up the chain. But you have to have some type of sponsorships, backing, money to back you up in order to have competitive machinery and talent to really get through it.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at it, 22 guys out of how many thousands of people trying to race.
Mm-hmm.
That's tough. That's tough to get into anything.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. Very cool. Well, definitely very knowledgeable, great information here. And, if you listen to our podcast in the future, we're going to talk about how have people changed watching sports, a sport like this, are people watching it more instead of the professional sports, so stay tuned for that. We don't have time for that discussion today, but I know it's something that, we want to get into, how do people, what changed their viewership? What do they like about kind of these, we call them second tier sports, but they're not like the professional sports, right? Not like the top 4, like the NHL, the NBA, NFL, things like that. MLB, who's not playing right now, but that's in a whole nother discussion. But
definitely going in the right direction. It sounds like though.
Yeah, they're not on strike, which is good. All right, you guys probably heard me mention in the beginning of the show, and I did it for a reason, that our man Mike likes The Price is Right. So evidently he put together a little something here today for us. I can't wait to see what he's got in mind for us here. He's going to run us through a little bit of a torture here. Mike, what do you got, buddy?
All right, so I don't know if you guys know on The Price is Right, you've seen the game with the hiker that goes up the mountain, and you have to guess. Like in the show, you would guess the price of an item, and then the difference between your guess and the actual price is how high the hiker would go up the mountain. And the goal was not go over the cliff. So what I have is a similar game. I'm going to ask you guys sports questions. It'll be one at a time. Try not to cheat. So the goal is to get through a round. So a round's going to be each one you answering one question, and not as a group exceed a value of 20, which is what will send the guy over the cliff. And pictures speak 1,000 words. So
I love it.
Hysterical.
I
Love
hope you can see this.
it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I should have had Claudius draw it because he's the one of artistic ability, but
All right,
got a little hiker here.
I see Claudius' eyes all cross-eyed. Like, what the hell was
He
that?
said all cross-eyed.
I hope it's coming clear. Here it is. I think it's
Right
clear
there,
there.
yeah.
I got
there
the
you
little
go.
lines to show where we're going to be at. I got a little thumbtack so I can stick the hiker on there.
Love it. Love it.
We got to start doing video for these podcasts now. All right.
Yeah,
So
we
what
do.
I'm going to do is let me go ahead and unlock this. See, and then so I'm going to start off.
Where's the music?
It's coming.
Oh, you got it. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So our first question, and I'm going to give you guys ranges so that your guesses aren't too far out. But I'll start with Jermaine. All right. How many F1 championships does Lewis Hamilton have? It's a number between 1 and 15.
1 and 15.
Yes.
7.
That's what I would have guessed.
And the correct answer is 7.
Woo! Look at that.
You are off to a
You proud of me, Claudius?
Man, nailed it.
Oh, all right. Claudius, in what year did the Austrian circuit become the Red Bull Ring? The answer is between 2000 and 2019.
Oh man.
You got a tough
Oh
one.
man, that's hard. That's hard.
Give the pro the hardest one.
Right.
Yeah.
2015.
2015. All right. Hold on.
Please don't go off the cliff.
Oh,
Answer
all right. All right.
is 2011.
Okay.
I love it.
All right.
So you were
There it is.
4 away. All right.
Cool. This is awesome.
This is awesome.
Way to go.
Let's see. Sal.
Yes.
How many races pre this Ukraine war were scheduled for this current Formula One season?
Do I have a
Numbers
range?
between
Okay.
15 and 30.
I'm going to say 20.
20. All right.
You off the cliff, man.
Answer is 23.
Okay. All right.
23 races this
All
season.
right.
Now 22 because of the war. They canceled the race in Russia.
Right.
Makes a lot of sense.
Nice.
Andre, the approximate cost for Mercedes to run their F1 team in 2020. The number is between 450 million and 470 million.
I'm going to say 460.
460. All right.
Here we go.
I'm off the cliff.
Wait, we got a long way to go. Oh, look at
You
that.
guys did it. That's a good
All
job.
right.
Barely got halfway up the mountain. The answer was $459 million.
Wow.
It's a lot of money.
All right.
Nice.
I like
All
it.
right.
Yeah.
That's
All right,
awesome.
cool. All right, we're gonna go through. We'll go ahead and do another round. Definitely got some more questions.
Sure.
All right, let's go back to Jermaine again. How many career interceptions did Brett Favre have? You probably know this answer. I'm gonna open the range up a little more, make it a little more nervous. Let's go with 320 to 345.
Woo.
You said 320 to 345. You said.
Yeah, 345. Yeah.
I say 3. I'm going to say, you know what? 335.
335. All right. Uh-oh, come on.
Oh,
Whoa.
there you
Yeah,
go.
Jermaine is
Whoa.
on today.
Man.
Hot answer 336.
Wow.
336 is the
I was going to
answer.
say 337, but yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Andre.
Yes.
Let's go with you.
Uh-oh.
Jalen Hurts last season Madden rating. The
Madden
answer is
rating.
between
Madden?
it's Madden rating. You know, we'll go 60 to 90 as the range.
61.
61. All right.
Yeah, we're off the cliff.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Oh,
7,
no.
8, 9, 10,
Jesus.
11.
Jesus, right? Come on, man. What you about that? That
His
motion,
rating,
man.
That's not emotion. I came back. I'm off my
his,
high. I think he sucks.
What was it, Mike?
his rating is his 72, which is still
Okay.
bad for Madden, but yeah, his rating was 72.
Well,
Oh,
61. There you go.
God.
Yeah, all right. Let's
Great.
see. Sal.
Yep.
During the last hockey lockout, which was in 2012, how many games were canceled? The answer is between 500 and 530.
Jeez.
I believe it was 515.
515. All right.
Yeah.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3,
Uh-oh.
4, 5. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Close.
Uh-oh.
all right.
We're close.
Oh,
All
man.
right.
We're
The answer
close.
was 510.
Oh, it's up by 5. All right.
All right. So Claudius is like it's going to fall on you.
Hit him with another Formula One question. Come on.
Nope.
No. I'm out of Formula One questions.
Uh-oh.
All right. In what year was T.O. and Ray Lewis both on the cover of NFL video games?
Oh.
The answer is between 2000 and 2012.
Oh man.
Pressure's on, Claudius.
02.
02. All right.
Let's see.
Uh-oh. So we got 1, 2. Uh-oh. You guys are off. And I guess,
Oh.
and you know what? The answer was 2005, so you missed it just by
Hey.
one.
Wow.
man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, Dre, I blame you, man.
Well, 61.
Yeah.
Man.
Ray Lewis was on the cover of Madden, and T.O. in his Eagles jersey was on the cover of NFL 2K5.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which arguably was the best football game,
Man.
video
I
game.
think
Yeah, it
so.
was.
Yeah.
2000.
2K5 was, yeah.
All right. You guys want to try one more round?
I do.
Do it.
This is
All right.
fun.
All right, cool. Let's go for it. All right. We'll start with Sal.
Okay.
Baseball question. All right. What year was Pete Rose banished by baseball?
Ooh.
Answers between 1975 and 1995.
Jeez.
It's between 75 and 95. I am going to say 1985.
1985. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
Oh, all right.
All right. Answer was 1989.
Okay.
I was gonna say 85. Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I was gonna
All
say
right. Let's
83.
say Claudius. What was the highest total points scored in an NBA All-Star game? And the answer
my
is
God.
between 170 and 200.
190.
190.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right.
Halfway up the mountain.
Oh, boy.
The answer was 196 points. That was the 2016
Oh my
West All Stars
Ooh.
scored that much. I think the
Wow.
final score was like 196 to 180 something. That was ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
All right.
That is ridiculous.
Let's see. Jermaine. Mario Lemieux from the Pittsburgh Penguins. How many career goals did he have? The number is between, say, 660 and 690.
660 and 690. You know what? I'm gonna stay on the low end and say 665.
665. All right.
Man.
Yeah, you'll take him off the cliff.
I knew when Mike wasn't counting, we were in trouble.
He just gets sliding.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Jermaine. All your fault.
Oh, man. I lost the thumbtack. But, the answer was 690 goals.
Wow.
Arguably,
Wow, 690.
90.
Yeah,
Arguably, he's the best,
Yeah.
second best player
Yeah.
in history. I guess
Yeah.
Wayne Gretzky, a lot of people feel is the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. I I got enough to do one more round if you guys want to do it.
What's the time like, Sal?
Let's do it. We'll make it work. If we need
All
to
right.
cut it,
All
let's
right.
do it.
Let's see.
The man worked hard on this. I like it.
Man,
Claudius,
this is
I'll get this
fantastic.
one to you. This is a Formula One question. What is the fastest recorded speed of a Formula One car on a circuit track?
Ooh,
The number is between, let's say, 220 and 235.
Wow, this is. I don't usually pay attention to that. I would say. Oh man, between 220 and 235.
Mm-hmm.
Man,
All
I don't
right.
wanna say that high.
Gotta guess.
All right, 225.
225. All right. And the correct answer, you got to go. Hold on. You guys still see me?
Yeah, we
You're
can still
good.
see.
Okay. All right. You said 225.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Oh wow.
The answer was 231.5 or 232.
Okay.
It was
Wow.
set by Juan Montoya in 2005. And it was actually during qualifying. So it was recorded, but it wasn't like actually during the actual race.
Jeez.
All right.
Oh,
So you guys got 7 right
Who
now.
was that in Monza?
I think
That was
it was.
in Mexico. What I was reading.
Oh
It was
wow.
in Mexico.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Jermaine, let's go to you. The last Major League Baseball strike. How many days did it last? Numbers between, say, 220 and 245.
Games, right? Games, right?
How many days?
Oh,
How many
days. You said 220 between 220 and 235?
245.
Oh, 245. Let's go with 240.
240. All right.
Uh-oh.
All right.
He said stop.
This game is
All right.
This game is
You
cheap.
almost to the top. The answer was 232 days was the last strike that they had. How many days it lasted?
Wow.
Andre,
Uh-oh.
let's talk about your favorite team.
Oh God.
So,
Uh-oh.
how many quarterbacks since the franchise came back in 1999 have the Cleveland Browns had? Starting quarterbacks. So the number is between 15. I'll say 20 and 30. I'll make it a little tighter.
Wow, starting
Cleveland
quarterbacks 20. Wow.
Yep. And we got 5. You got room for 5.
Right.
Before you go over the cliff.
Right.
Mm.
There were. From what year?
So franchise history, this is when they came back. Remember, they disappeared from
Right.
Cleveland
Right.
and came back in 1999. So since 1999, how many starting quarterbacks have they had?
23.
23. All right.
He's counting. It still might be all right.
Oh, man, dang.
Over the cliff.
I thought I was going to survive, man. Be right at my feet dangling.
What was
Do you
it?
believe it? They believe it. They've had 29 starting quarterbacks.
29.
Wow.
That is how bad they have been.
That's horrible.
Bad. Oh boy.
I can't believe that's even statistic. My God.
Yeah. That's bad. Man.
Oh man. Well, Jermaine, you and I went over the cliff.
Yeah.
Twice.
Man, like I gotta give it up to you, man. That was awesome.
Right. Awesome,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good, buddy.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed that. I got a couple more questions, but we can do that off air.
That was fun.
I wish our viewers could see the board because he actually has the enough steady the podcast on the bottom of it. It's freaking awesome. I love it.
Well, we're definitely giving them a visual, so
Yeah.
in their mind.
God, that was so great. I enjoyed that, man. So nice work there, buddy.
Thanks.
Yes.
And Claudius, thanks so much again for joining us this week, man. It's been a pleasure. We'd love to have you back. I guess when's a good time to do it again? Is there another season coming up soon, or when's a good time to actually have him back?
Yeah, they're starting up in a couple of weeks, so they just had the testing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we'll get it on the schedule. We'll definitely get Claudius back, and we appreciate his time today. Jermaine, Dre, as always, it's been a pleasure. If you guys have questions, comments, again, it's enoughsaidcrew@gmail.com. You can check us out on our YouTube page. If you search Enough Said Podcast, we'll come right up. Yep. Season 2 is actually the first playlist on there, so you can check that out in addition to all the other ones on there. We're also on Facebook and Twitter as well. So, guys, it's been awesome. Thank you so much. And we'll see you in 2 weeks. And I think we're doing maybe some March Madness. Is that what's coming up next?
Yep. March Madness. Hey, Claudius, thanks again, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, thanks, Claudius.
Be here.
Yeah.
I finally made it.
Yeah, man.
All right, guys. We'll catch you next week.